House of Jeff Hurst, the Trevor Brooking and Billy Bonds, Paolo Di Canio, West Ham United. We celebrate our victories, we stick together in defeat. I'm proud of our history, West Ham United, more than just a podcast, more than just a podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is more than just a podcast. A season, is it 11 or 12? 12, episode 21. Episode 21 already. We're back. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year to the two presenters who are with me, who I'm just about to introduce. No George today. Unfortunately, he's got Jessica's got chickenpox. Let's get straight to the chase. And no Canning Town Len today. He's got a tickly throat and he can't speak because he's coughing. So that does leave us with Shedman. Where are you? What are you doing?
I'm in my shed.
Oh, that's the wrong. that's the wrong jingle. This is
Shedman,
a little out of practice.
Shedman,
All right, yeah.
Shedman.
Sorry, I'm in my garage.
Oh,
Sorry.
I don't have that.
Garage man.
Happy New Year, Nigel.
Happy New Year.
And obviously, if process elimination, we've also got John. Where are you? What are you doing?
I'm at home chatting to yous.
Oh, no, that's the wrong one as well.
Have you got at home chatting to yous?
Yeah. I need to get George to do one. So it's just us threes. Happy New Year, John.
Happy New Year.
What did you do on New Year's Eve?
I went round and saw George and a poorly Jessica. So yeah,
she's got
hopefully, she's got chicken pox.
What did you do on New Year's Eve, Nigel?
I woke up about 5 minutes to midnight, watched the fireworks, and then I watched Match of the Day 2. Or did I? No, that was last night. Did I?
Oh, you're
What do you think of the fireworks, Nigel?
Well,
I thought
nothing. They're all right.
They were pretty good.
I thought it was like a party political broadcast. It was just...
Well, it had the
I like
Queen
the
in and everything, and I watched it from where was I? Charlotte. I was in North Carolina in an airport lounge.
What, you could see them from there?
Yeah, well, I was streaming it on.
That's the
Sky
drones.
News.
It was the drones.
He does drone, doesn't he?
Do you know what? I don't know where I was at midnight because I was over the Atlantic and I couldn't work out what time zone I'd be in when I moved from 2020.
You were flying back towards it, weren't you?
I was flying back towards it, and I don't know when it was midnight, and they didn't tell us. Bloody American Airlines. Anyway, I'm back in the country, and I can see
God for that.
I can see you did a podcast while I was away, because I know you. I thought it was going to happen one between Christmas. You said Nigel went, yeah, we'll probably do one between Christmas and New Year. What happened there then, Nigel?
Life got in the way.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's terrible, isn't it? It's hard when...
That is so last year. Let's not talk about the shitty last year that was 2022. It's now 2023. Although, before we dump 2022, we do want to talk about Arsenal on Boxing Day. I was at a beach, so didn't really... I was watching it on my mobile, but obviously I can't really tell what was going on. I knew we lost. So, Nigel, let's straight in. Short or quick or long as you want.
You were there, Nigel, were you?
No, I was there in spirit, not in body.
You watched it though.
I watched it, yes.
I mean, you could say foregone conclusion. Top of the league, playing really well. Didn't expect to win.
Not a happy hunting ground for us.
My son says we had the better game for the first 60 minutes. Is what he told me.
Did he?
He did.
Okay. Perhaps not the way I remember it.
Okay, all right. I'm just repeating what Finley says.
I don't know about two schools of thought about what you do when you go to Arsenal. Is it a free hit? That's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Two
Historically,
wins,
for us, it probably is because
t-
we've got
two,
such a
two
bad.
wins now since they've moved to the Emirates, which are 8 years apart. So the way that goes, we should beat them at the Emirates. Whether that'll be with David Moyes or not, I don't know. But anyway, so it was one of them games where we took the lead. It was a penalty, definitely clipped him and took his fall.
Yeah, I saw that.
If we could have got in at half time, maybe, I don't know if we could have got a point out of it or not. Arsenal were definitely in the ascendancy at the back end. That's why I don't get why Finley thought 60 minutes we were the better team. 6 minutes I could have probably agreed with, but not 60. But then again,
I don't do him any disservice. I'm just going to check
no. There was
my message for him. I'm sure he said 60.
It wasn't the worst performance, but I suppose I don't know. I don't know if it was. There was a lot of disappointment from the lack of new faces from the teams that had lost before Christmas. But there's two ways of looking at it. Is that these players, majority of them were not at the World Cup, had 6 weeks of pre-season training again, or pre-second, whatever, part 2 of season training again. So we perhaps would have thought we could have done a bit better than we did. You're always disappointed to lose. I wasn't unexpected at the outcome, or surprised. Obviously, sections of the fan base are going to be upset after. Well, everybody should be upset with a defeat. I'm not just going to say that, but sometimes you do need to look at the opposition. They've drawn one game and lost one game and won every other game, and hold your hands up and go, well, they are a better team than us, and they are. Whether we've gone backwards or forwards or what as a club, that's what Arsenal are.
Question.
Yep.
Declan Rice and David Moyes said it was down to 2 sloppy throw-ins. We defended, we lost the game. It went against they were suggesting it went against run of play, that 2 throw-ins, poorly defended, caused the goals.
With Moyes, the one thing in his the comments, a lot of people have complained, all he ever does is complain about Ben Rama. And I generally never bought into that, but after listening to him after the game, the only person he picked out was Ben Rama as mistake for the first goal, but Ben Rama lost the ball, and you think there was a lot of bloody players in between Ben Rama and the goal when he lost the ball, so to just pick him out, I don't get why he does it. Why just Benny? Rice, his performance weren't tip top. Naturally now, I don't know. I don't want to pigeonhole people, but there's a lot of people now questioning Rice, his commitment to the club, which I think is a terrible thing to do for a player like him.
Yeah.
And the man is entitled to have a bad performance. Bearing in mind he has been at the World Cup, so he was playing. He had all that to deal with. It was. I've seen us lose, and I know people keep going on, but I think, is it the worst I've seen now? No, it ain't. There was one real shocking one under Allardyce. So, but Moyes' record away from home against the top 6 is possibly the worst I've ever known a manager to have.
Let me do a stat attack. I've just remembered I was actually watching this one from Philadelphia in a lounge. It was the other one I was watching on the beach. So I did watch this game, believe it or not. Arsenal had 67% of the possession, which meant West Ham only had 33. They had 16 shots, 5 on target. We had 8 shots, 4 on target. They had 7 corners. We had 5. John, did you watch the game?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What have you got to add from what Nigel said?
No, yeah. I mean, we didn't expect to win, did we? they went up. They scored a goal early on, which was given for offside, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Saka scored, given her offside. We got the penalty. I agree, it was definitely a penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't understand how they were questioning the fact that because he was clipped and he tried to carry on. I had got that little feeling of hope when we went one up, and then they were given the penalty, and it was ruled out for because it was an handball. It hit him on the head, Cresswell on the head. So I had that little feeling of hope that maybe this could go our way. We might have had a stroke of luck there, and then the second half happened, and we just and it was just, I don't know, it's just demoralising. Fabianski was beat on his near post, and it was just,
it was probably the best team we could put out, wasn't it? I mean, obviously no, Scamacca wasn't fit, even though
Scamacca wasn't available.
Not that makes a difference.
The best team or not anymore.
And obviously Aguerd still suffering or the after effects of the virus. So we had Dawson.
Is that what it is now? Has he recovered from his injury?
Yeah. So they're saying that the virus took it out of him and he's got to get up to full fitness. So we had Dawson and Kera. I heard some bad things about Kera. I didn't watch the match close enough. I was watching on an iPad to see what people were on about. But saying Kera's shit as a centre back.
Kera's a better right back than he is a centre back, in my opinion.
What I've heard.
But he's not the greatest right back either. So
And Souček obviously was replaced in the last 12 minutes for Fornells. Again, some people seem to be pointing fingers at him in that game.
Well, he hasn't contributed much for a while, Souček. I like Souček, and I don't want to be one of those that starts saying it, starts booing him when he comes on or gets taken off. But he didn't. He's not contributed much for a while, and that then helps to the frustration with the manager when he continuously starts him. He should take him out of the firing line and.
I seem to remember someone saying Soufal was at fault for one of the goals.
No one particularly done very well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Sort of 80 minutes, I stopped.
The offside one. They're looking at the equaliser.
Yeah.
Koufal was 5 yards. Well, no, I'm being harsh. Let's say 2 yards behind the defenders. But it highlighted for me, fun enough, I can't remember who it was now, some West Ham fan did tweet how good they thought, well, not how good they thought Koufal was, that he wasn't the worst player. And he thought he was West Ham's man of the match. And someone pointed out to him the 2 goals mistakes and that he'd played the bloke on for offside. And the reply from, I think it was one of the West Ham fan TV boys, was, well, playing an attacker on side is not the worst mistake to make, is it? And you think, well, I had to reply to him and go, well, when it leads to a goal, I think it is the worst mistake you can make. Especially if you're the goalkeeper and you're relying on your defenders to hold the line, and the other 3 defenders all hold the line, which the other 3 did, and Koufal's 2 yards behind. That does cause a problem, a big problem, which it did. Saying that, he was good in the tackle, Koufal. He blew it on cold.
I'm not sure.
I mean, he's not our worst player, is he?
No, definitely not.
And he plays in a position that, you can be half decent and get by, So
is Johnson better than him?
Well,
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I can't work out either.
I don't know. It's a really good question because Johnson, I mean, let's put his contract negotiations to one side. He seems to have dropped in form from the Johnson we saw when he first started. I think that's part of the problem with the negotiations, from what I hear.
I think he's attacking wise in a better player. Defensively, is he or not? I don't know. I think he puts a better ball in consistently.
Anyway, it's a game we thought we'd lose.
Yeah,
right?
we did expect to lose.
And typical West Ham, as I said to my son, and I was talking to him after the game, this is West Ham, right? They build you expect to lose the game. It's a bit like watching England. You expect to lose the game, then they give you some hope by going 1-0 up, and then they take it away again and punish you second half. And we're having a little bit of banter on WhatsApp, and I was getting a bit carried away when I was 1-0 up, wasn't I, with a little wager with an American friend of ours who would have had to run round his snowy yard in his underpants if he'd lost, and Arsenal would have lost, and West Ham would have won. But he had no chance of.
You offered him nothing in return.
Why? Because I expected to lose as well. I told him I wouldn't call him Negative Dave anymore for the whole year.
So what one of our American friends was it then, Sean, that you weren't naming? That you just called it Negative Dave?
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah, you might as well just
David Houldsink.
Jesus Christ.
I know. If I didn't say his name incorrectly, then they wouldn't know what I was talking about. Anyway, anything to say on Boxing Day? Can we park 2000 and... oh no, of course, because the next game was still in 2022.
2022.
I would say he should. I don't think he should have started Souček. He should have started Downs.
Yeah. Downs was on the bench, wasn't he? Let's just check.
I'm all for now. It's time for Fabianski to sit down.
Downs was on the bench. Yeah.
I think Areola needs to start.
Yeah, no, I don't.
And I just. Yeah, I mean, those are a few little things.
Well, that's a great link. That's a great segue to the next game because, of course, he did try to change it up when we played Brentford at home. I think we'll start with Nigel this time.
We did last time.
Oh, we did last time.
You carry on.
Only because he was at the game.
Yeah,
well, I assume
you were there.
At the game.
You were there for that one.
I was there. Yes.
He was.
Did you see my son?
Good to be back. No, I didn't see anyone.
Oh, he
see
was
the
there.
Nice new long bar
hilarious.
they'd built.
You'll love this.
Nice new long what?
They built a new long bar, a Heineken bar.
Oh, I heard that.
What, in our end? Well,
yes.
not our end.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I said to you, John, where the pick and mix was,
Yeah.
is now a huge Heineken bar.
Ooh.
They've got about 12, 14 people that serve.
Nice.
Is it all lager?
Different lagers.
Lager.
There was cider on tap.
Oh.
So, not sure about Guinness, but it's a good improvement, I could say. Good improvement.
Good.
Walk in, get served straight away. I'm not sure how much I paid though, I must admit. You just get free beers and tap your card. You don't get a receipt now, so I don't even know what I paid. Boycott the bars.
Yeah. Anyway, let me tell this quick story about... So, Finley's first game on his own, right? So, he's taking a friend of his on my ticket. So, I transferred and forwarded my ticket onto a friend of his. And so, they've arranged their train journey and everything. 10 minutes to go. I'm on a beach. And he messaged me from when it actually rings me on not his phone and says... My phone's glitched. I've only got... I can't get off the lock screen. But the iPhone's absolutely crashed on the ice cream. So I said, well, okay. So I messaged Nicky Key, as you do. Go,
what does that matter though, Sean?
Huh?
What does that matter with the iPhone?
What do you mean? He couldn't get his ticket up. So because he can't get off the lock screen, he can't get his ticket. So it gets worse. So I then go, well, it's all right, because what I'll do is I'll download the ticket from the website, the PDF, and send it to your friend's phone. Couldn't get signal. Because it's 5 minutes before kickoff. Couldn't get a signal.
Who couldn't? He couldn't, or
He
you
couldn't.
couldn't?
His friend couldn't get a signal on Vodafone
What, next to the stadium?
next to the stadium because
Oh
everyone
my
had
God.
arrived. So then he tried to use the London Stadium Wi-Fi, which you all know doesn't work.
Oh, no.
It's the best connected stadium in
I
London,
know,
Sean.
I know. So do you know how they solve it? They had to walk out of the stadium, past security, walk into the park, up a hill until they got far enough. They could get a signal, download the ticket, and get back again.
So they missed the kickoff.
I don't know. I think they just got in after kickoff, but Nicky Kane was going, well, he can go to the ticket office, or he needs to restart his phone. And I'm going, yeah, we've tried all that, Nicky. Thanks for that. So there you go. Just a little. It is worth, right?
Having proper tickets.
Having a copy printed ticket because he nearly didn't get in. He if he hadn't got
Or having a card with his season ticket on it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good idea. They should try that.
Oh, it got worse because on the way back, I don't know if it affected you. There were no trains back to his part of Surrey, so he only got in about 1 o'clock in the morning. He had to. He got to. Did you know that he had to get to London Bridge?
Oh, but there was a train strike on.
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. The next
Loads of
day,
people
maybe.
drove. See, I was on by 11:15.
Oh well, he waited to the end, which I'm sure you're going to talk about in a minute. Then managed to get to London Bridge. Waited for about an hour and a half. Of course, he hasn't got a phone, so his mum can't talk to him, and he gets home at 12:30 to Epsom, and someone gives him a lift from Epsom back, and gets home at 1 o'clock. His mum says, "You're never going to West Ham again on your own." There you go. That's the story. Anyway, Nigel.
How old is the boy?
16.
16. And his mum's going to him, you're never going West Ham on your own again.
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I know. She'd forget. It was a bad start. No phone on a strike day, can't communicate. There you go. So anyway, apart from that, did you get in all right, Nigel?
Yeah.
All right.
Drove.
But I've got a card.
You've got a card, yeah. And you drove?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. I didn't know there was a train strike. I didn't think there was.
Oh, I thought there was. I don't know. There was a lot of people driving, so.
I think you can pretty much just guess it's a train strike these days.
Yeah.
Getting
I think my daughter's supposed to be going back to college tomorrow, but she ain't. So, yeah.
Why?
Train strike.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway, Nigel. Brentford. We always beat Brentford.
Not. Yes. Brentford.
A lot of people thought it was make or break.
Yeah.
With lots of rumours going around he'd been sacked after the game, even before he did his press conference, which obviously was not true.
Yeah. Where do we start with Brentford?
Where do we start?
They're good, Brentford.
Look, yeah, they are a good team. They're playing well, and
They're a proper team.
So should we, to be fair.
I wonder if Tony had a bet on himself.
What? Let's start with the changes then. So it goes to 5 at the back. So he's make changes.
Yeah.
No.
No Sufal. Sorry, Suchek.
No Suchek.
Yeah.
So I'm not. It's not pandered to the fan base. I'd say because at the end of the day, you can't keep picking the same players and losing games. You do have to try and find a winning formula. Sometimes you can lose a few games, pick a player who's out of favour, and he may win you that game. Now, he brings in Emerson, puts Creswell as a third centre-back. I suppose, I don't know, some injuries forces his hand. Drops Paqueta deeper next to Rice.
Yeah.
Quite what a few people, apparently he was a star for Brazil in that position. I'm not sure I'd agree as a star, but he did well.
He had a good game in that position where he scored his goal.
Yes, but I think it's a damn sight easier when you got players like Casemiro next to you.
And Neymar.
And Neymar and Richarlison and whatever in front of you, and Vinicius Junior. So, he's done in a way, or not, I don't think he's responded to the fans, but that's what a lot of the fans were looking to see, that have been critical of Moyes. Now, the outcome was we started the game very well. Our best chance of the game, which we didn't realise at the time, Rice hits the post.
Yep, saw that.
Then they get a goal from nothing. And it's obviously a tactical. I didn't realise. I was talking to a Tottenham friend today, and he explained to me, actually. That's
You got a friend who supports Tottenham?
Yeah, I've got loads of friends that support Tottenham.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what you do when you grow up in London. We all support different teams. Even in Canning Town, there were Spurs fans, believe it or not. Oh no. They sort of threw the ball into the area, but not at the goal. And I don't know if that confused us. So they threw it sort of the edge of the 6 yard, the ball line, where whoever it was heads it back, 'cause it was up the other end of me, and he seemed to head it across. Great save by Fabianski to keep the first chance out, but then Tony had a tap in, and you 1-0 down, and you can see the frustration in Declan Rice. You know, he weren't happy, and I think he weren't happy with the situation, not so much. You know, West Ham were playing really well. We were the team on top. We then go looking for the equaliser, get caught on a sucker punch. Creswell gets out of pace, but Emerson was nowhere. Yeah, and this is the thing. Everybody blamed Creswell, but he got caught one-on-one with a bloke burns for pace. And you're looking, you know, I don't know what it was, 40 odd minutes. We're 2-0 down, and I'm literally thinking, how has this happened? How has this happened? But I suppose at least in the first half we could get back into the game. The mad thing about it is we played better conceding 2 goals in the first half than what we played in the second half.
That's what I heard.
You know, so there is disappointment there. We came out 2 down and not managed to, lay a glove on.
Do you know what? I've just remembered. I think Finley was talking about this game and not Arsenal, and the 2 throw-ins comment I said was about this game as well, and not last game. Yeah. Apologies. I'm still jet lagged, right?
Yeah, I was wondering what you was going. You said, I'm thinking, blimey.
No, Finley was talking about this game and the 2 throw-ins from the manager and Declan Rice was this game. Sorry, guys.
The problem, the thing is, it's now got to a situation where, yes, we all want to be entertained, we all want to see good football, but we've got to get results. And 5 on the trot, 5 defeats on the trot, there's the problem now. You can't hide from it. There's a problem, I don't know, with the management or with the players.
Yeah.
Is it, Antonio Airshot?
That was awful, wasn't it? That was awful.
Do you know that happens? But I'll tell you what,
I've
Antonio
seen a meme
did.
of that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what Antonio did. Chase the ball down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't run away and hide or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of apathy inside the ground. So there's still no Moyes out chance. If you think of the way
was there any booing at all at half time or full time?
At half time, see, this is the thing.
All the boo boys are gone, aren't they, at full time?
Well, you say that, people will boo the situation, wouldn't they?
Mm.
So I think at half time it was like, how are we 2-0 down? So that was at the end of the game.
Oh, right. Oh, there are some boos there.
So, yeah, that's, I thought I'd just record.
Yeah,
I was mainly trying to take a picture and I didn't realise I had it on video.
Yeah. So
I got a 5-second clip, from the 10,000 of us that were left.
Hmm.
Perhaps we'll talk about Moyes and afterwards.
We will talk about Moyes later on, and transfers and financial news.
Yeah, it's
looking forward to the financial news.
Yeah. I bet you are.
It's for me. Moyes tried to make changes, and they obviously didn't work. But then again, and this is the thing where how is it? You know, Brentford have beat Liverpool today 3-1. You know, they were unlucky not to beat Spurs. What is it that Brentford do that we don't? What, you know? But what I would say is long term, and I'll maintain this. I bet you we're a Premier League club a lot longer than Brentford ever will be. Which is a bold, perhaps, statement at the moment.
Oh, do you want to stick that on with our other bet?
Well, yeah, it may take it might not take longer to catch it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I could get both this year.
This one's double bubble. No, I'll stick with the one bet we got. Look, at the end of the day,
did we deserve to lose?
Well, yeah, because we didn't.
We didn't score goals. Don't say we
didn't
didn't score goals.
The funny thing is, and this is the thing, Moyes sets us up, and this has been one of the things. I don't know if I've got the time to do it. Perhaps we should look at how many shots we've had this season compared to other seasons. Well, because again, another game where, according to the stats, though I do struggle to think of it, is that we created 20 chances.
That's correct.
Yeah. And you think, if we are creating, what do we have, 6, 7 on target?
Well, I was just about to say that. So, quick stat attack, so I can do it full. 63% possession for West Ham, which means they had 37. We had 20 shots, 5 on target. They had 9 shots, 6 on target. We had 8 corners to their 1.
I mean, I think all the stats West Ham dominated.
Yeah.
So, and you think...
Well, except shots on target, they had 6, so you've got to say they were slightly more clinical. And
but then
obviously 2 of them went in.
And this is the thing I then go to. Is that David Moyes' fault?
No.
Or is it the players? I mean, I look at it and I don't want to be down on players. I don't. You know, you pull the shirt and I'll back you. You manage the club. And until you're not the manager, I'll back you. But there are players there who I think are just not up to it. New players. I don't think they're up to the Premier League. Premier League's a different beast. And I don't think they're up for it.
No, I didn't watch enough of the game because this is the one I was at the beach and I couldn't quite, get the thread of what was going on because there was a sandstorm going on at the same time. But again, if I'm honest with you, I didn't expect to win this one. I sort of thought we'd lose it as well. They seem to be another bogey team for us. John.
Yo.
I'm hoping you watched it.
I did watch it.
Any highlights for you?
Highlights. We started brightly.
Yeah.
It was probably our...
Go against the run of play, the goal? Tony's goal?
The goal did go against the run of play.
That's what I heard.
Is he a West Ham fan? Did he cross hammers when he scored?
Did he? Well, I know he's had 30 bets on... He probably had a bet on himself, didn't he? He's in trouble. He's about to be banned, isn't he?
I know. He's
numerous betting.
He's
injured. Did he play today?
No.
He's injured,
I was
isn't
going
he?
to say he was carried off on his stretcher.
But, we started really well. It looked like we'd had a reaction because of the Arsenal game. We need a reaction. We are in trouble. There needs to be something needs to change and something needs to happen. And it looked like we were getting it. And then they did score the goal. It was just a long throw in for the runner against the run of play. The second goal, all right. Emerson wasn't, but Emerson was stood next to one of their players when the bloke basically lifted the ball across past the two of them and then in front of Creswell, and then Creswell just got outrun and held back and just wasn't there, and he scored a goal. Fabianski was going to come and then didn't come, and then it was just I guess for watching it was demoralising, and I guess that's what happened to them. Second half we were not even doing anything. We were just going through the motions, and it was very demoralising all round. And is is it the manager? Is it the players? It's the manager who can affect the players. It's the manager who can G up the players. It's the manager who can pick the players that are doing it for him or are not doing it for him. It's the manager that still picks the same players that aren't doing it for him week in, week out. And, you know, we all know there's only one way it can really go. They're not going to change all the players. They're going to have to change the manager. And
well, we're going to talk about that.
but it was
after financial update, obviously.
Yeah, it was.
I know you're looking forward to it.
I am looking forward to it. I mean, Paquetá, however you want to say it, he has got something. But then I thought Vlasic had something, and I thought Haller had something, and you know, these players just seem to come to us, fall away, and then go somewhere else and become good. And what's the reason for that? I don't know. Skamaka, I think, has got it. I think he's another one who, you know, he's Ivan Toney-ish.
Yeah.
But you know, does he not get the service? Does he not make the runs? What is it? I don't know. It's just frustrating, isn't it? It's just.
What did you think?
It's just
how did you think after you lost? Did you get the You get in the mood?
Yeah, no, it just gives you the ache, doesn't it? It is so West Ham.
It was predictable. I had this feeling. I don't know why. I just thought.
I didn't think we'd beat Brentford.
No, that's exactly how I thought. I thought we never beat Brentford. Why do we think we're going to suddenly, in the luck we've had lately, why do we think we're going to turn over Brentford?
I don't think we're going to beat Brentford, but you know, it's got to change. You know, we can't. We are predictable. We are, and we at our better seasons we've had recently are our ability to withhold the pressure or withstand the pressure and attack people on the break.
Yeah.
And we can't play like that anymore. People understand that's what we do. We've finished 6th and 7th or whatever, and so people set up differently against us. So we've got to change how we play. And the players he's brought in represent a need to change the way we play. And you know, it's just so overall that all of it is just so sad and demoralising as West Ham fans, where you feel you've had 2 years of progression and you just see the whole thing just falling apart in front of your eyes again and going backwards, and we're going to end up going back to square one again.
Yeah.
And it's just so typically West Ham, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, hey.
Anything more to add till we close the door of 2022, Nigel?
2022. I mean, quickly, 10 minutes. What do you think? Good calendar year for West Ham, or a poor one?
If you look at the calendar year, obviously the pinnacle was for me going out to Frankfurt and watching us in a, you know, Europa League semi-final. You know, we came really close. We finished 7th. So you can't roll up the calendar year. It's obviously been a shit season, but I don't think you can write off the whole year.
So what's the?
So if I give you the stats for the calendar year, which
go on.
People go. So in the Premier League, despite me saying last night on Twitter we played 35 games, we actually played 36. Website I was using had.
What's this? This is West Ham from 2020.
2022. So from January the 1st, where we beat Crystal Palace 3-2, we won 11, drew 6 and lost 19. That's 39 points in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that shows you where we are.
It's poor, but I tell you what, 9 seasons out of 10, you stay up.
Right.
Okay, so it's poor, but you don't die as such. Now, is it offset by the cups though? Because here's the thing. You get nothing from finishing 6th or 7th, but you get a trophy for winning a cup. Now, we didn't win the Cups, but in the Cups we played 18 games. We won 12 of them, drew 2, but we lost on penalties to Blackburn, and then lost 4. So in total we played 54 games, won 23 and lost 23, and drew 8. We scored 70 goals in that time. Just trying to find what it was. I think we conceded about 60 odd. So, as a calendar year, and I know seasons are not played over calendar, but there's a lot of people been making the fact that the rot started in November or December 2021. This is what people are constantly putting out there. But when you look at the calendar year as a whole, it's what I would class as just below an average for West Ham. It's not as bad as people were painting it. And the people that are painting it bad are the people that have been banging the drum to sack David Moyes for weeks.
But is it, when it goes like not as bad, but is it in relation to the 2 previous seasons that he had with us? It is a downward trend.
Yes.
And the cup thing is it's acceptable, but you know, you look at some of the teams we've played in the cup, especially in this conference. You know, the level of the teams we're playing.
Yeah, I mean, in the middle of January, we were sitting 5th in the league with 38 points. Yeah, after 22 games, and then if you look at the league table now, we're 17th out of the bottom 3 on goal difference.
Yeah, we're on 14 points, isn't it?
So, and the goal difference at the moment is -9, where, you know, I think it was +7 or 8.
And it's also consistent. Same again, same team, same format, same things, same again. It's like
is his hamstring. The one thing about Brentford, quickly I will add, was where I really did, and Reverend John will bear me out because he had to listen to me moaning about it, is he's got 5 substitutes here to make a change. You're 2-0 down. To only make 2 substitutions,
yeah,
what does that say to those on the bench?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What does it say?
You're shit.
Well, it ain't a good look, and this is the worry for me, you know. And this is the thing: we can all go, oh, it's all on the Everton game for him, realistically, which is another 3 games. Funny enough, but for me, I don't think he'll get to Everton if he loses the next 2.
Well, well, I
think if he loses the next 2, he's gone.
Yeah.
Because 3 points out of the next 3 games is still not good enough.
I can't get an answer on the 6-game rule.
No.
Which maybe is telling in its own way.
Yeah, because the thing is, the 6-game rule...
The 6-loss rule.
Yeah, the 6-loss rule in a row was something he probably told you when we wasn't in the middle of a bad run.
Correct.
It was one of them off-the-cuff flippant things, yeah, that you keep throwing at him.
Well, it has been repeated this season.
Yeah, but
now we're so close, we're at 5.
Right, and this is where I'll pull you up, yeah?
Go on.
Why is it repeated this season? Did David Sullivan offer that up, or the senior source, sorry, offered that up without prompting, or did someone ask him about it?
Obviously, whoever the senior source is was prompted with a question.
Difference.
And we weren't at 5 at the time.
When someone comes to you and you know, that person will answer the question that is asked, because that is the way that they are. When you ask that question, you are loading it for him to give that
I get
answer.
that. And all I'll say is,
I've
re-asked the question at 5 losses after the Brentford loss. I asked the question again, and I didn't get a reply.
The bottom line is like, you can talk about how many games and whatever. You have to look at it from like Everton get a point, Forest get a point, battling.
Yeah.
We don't look like one of the better 3 teams in the
We're
league
going
at
to
the
talk
moment.
about, when we get to the manager bit, after the financial bit, we're going to talk about the manager and what I know and what.
Okay, well, let's go into the financial bit, Sean.
Yeah, go on, get it over.
Let's
done
get it
with.
over
Well,
and done
actually,
with.
there was one bit of excitement, and not many
Excitement.
people have covered it because on the 29th of December, West Ham revealed their financial accounts at Company's House, and
Are you excited yet, John?
the club sent me
Yeah,
an embargo piece
I'm on the edge
before.
of my
But
seat.
I was in America, and I'm thinking, oh, why do you
I
have to
can't
release?
wait.
Why do you have to release your accounts?
Yeah, I know. If
Oh,
only people knew in advance.
yeah.
While I'm on holiday.
Yeah, why didn't you tell me, Nigel? Why didn't you tip me off, right? I would have delayed my trip. Anyway,
God. You
well,
probably would.
I actually wrote a
You
story saying
sad
I actually do it between Christmas and New Year. It's very bad news, but it wasn't bad news. They were excellent, and the thing I don't understand why no one's really covered this. I've covered it today on 6'2", is they're such an excellent set of accounts. They've broken record. They've got rid of all their debt. And I'm surprised. And actually, I got an email while I was out in the US from Kieran Maguire, the football finance guru, unprompted, going, I know people don't like GSP, but these are an excellent set of results. Now, let me quickly take you through them. Almost 253 million was the turnover, up 60 million on the previous season. Ticket revenue was 41.3, mostly because 8 extra games from the Europa League, etc. TV revenue was up 163 million. Up to 163 million. Commercial revenue, which includes hospitality, was 34.7, again a record. And retail club store, 13 million, again a record. Again, those European nights, apparently they sold more scarves than anyone else at any time before. Now, that actually was a pre-tax profit of 12.3 million. Again, the significance of that is we haven't made money since 2016. So for the last 6 years, we've recorded a loss. So it's the first profit. This is the big one. And I know John has always brought me up on that. Do you know what West Ham's net debt is now, John? He's gone to sleep. He's muted himself, has he? John?
He's probably used this to go.
He has muted himself.
Yeah.
Right. I'll ask you, Nigel. What do you think West Ham's net debt is?
Oh wow, West Ham's net debt, Sean. Surely, it's got to be below 50 million now.
It's not. It doesn't. It's wiped out. In fact, it's an asset. It's gone the opposite way. We wiped out 130 million pound net debt.
Wow, how
We've
did
got
we do
41 million in assets now. So including cash of 96.5 in the bank.
Is that
million
just
in the bank.
Declan Rice though?
No,
Is that just the 140 million pound asset?
No,
when you
no,
say
it's
Declan
not.
Rice?
No, that's not. That doesn't include player assets.
Oh.
This is just assets. The cash in the bank, other assets.
So we got money to spend in January. That's what people would.
No. We haven't because we're not going to spend in January. West Ham wages were up 135.7. They were 129 the previous season. West Ham does owe 81 million to other clubs still, but that's pretty normal. The amortization was down. They're withholding 7.8 million for Vlasic because of sanctions, they say. The club borrowed 80 million from Michael Dale, but paid 25 million back. So they've still got 55 million. So even they've got 96 million in the bank, they're still borrowing 55 million. They also confirmed, and I know you've always argued with me about this, Nigel. They confirmed that after the year end, they spent 155 million, 92,000 on player fees and agents fees on players. So 155 million with another 18 million on add-ons. So that was the net transfer spend, 155 million in the summer. The other thing that, of course,
The net spend was 155 million.
Correct.
Summer.
Yeah.
Net spend. It's not total spend.
Net spend. Yeah. Yeah. Do you not agree with that?
Yeah, I'm not disputing it. It was just one of them figures. You think we had a budget of 150 million. They spent 155. Well, actually, they probably spent 180.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
One of
less
the
of
interesting things for me is we revealed how much Daniel Kredinsky actually paid. So he actually bought 125. He paid 125 million for 20% of the shares in a rights issue. Then he paid 43.75 million, buying a further 7% of other directors. Probably Gold and Sullivan. I've got to work it out. I haven't quite worked it out. So that means his total investment, we now know, to buy 27% was 168.75 million. That values West Ham at 625 million. And Kredinsky has the option to buy more shares at that price. In fact, any director has that. Out of 168.75 million, this is the interesting bit, 105.2 million was paid back to directors or benefited directors. Only 63.5 was invested back into the club. And the reason for this is 58 million or 58.1 million went back to David Sullivan and David Gold to pay off their long-term shareholder loans and interest. 9.8, and by the way, they earn, I know you like this, they earned 23.3 million in interest over the 12 years that they loan the club money. Trip Smith was paid back his £9.5 million interest-free loan because it was a condition that any change of ownership, including Kredinsky coming in, he was automatically paid that back. So 9.5 million went back to Trip Smith. Directors in total sold shares worth 34.1 million. I don't know which directors they are. I think it's Gold and Sullivan. So they got that money directly from Kredinsky. It didn't go to club. And the interesting one is the club paid a London Stadium windfall tax of £2.5 million on behalf of directors, because obviously it was before March 2023 and a windfall tax was due. That was paid by the club as well. And the final £1 million, because I bet you're going, oh, what? You've only got to 104 million.
Can I just ask a question now? I may regret it, but why should the club pay that?
Well, because it was most of it was probably related to the rights issue, and it could be argued that all shareholders benefited, so it should be paid by the club.
Benefited from what, particularly?
Well, benefited from...
I don't know if you heard that, John. Basically, the club gave the government £2.5 million in respect to Kretinsky buying.
Oh, it was because they got new investment in.
Yeah.
Yeah, while there was
before
a tax levy. Before 2023 and the tax levy. But my thing was, surely the tax levy would be on the owners that received the money, not on the club.
Yeah, surely.
So I would have expected Gold and
Sullivan to pay that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's in the accounts. And the final one, which I know will get you riled up, and it's a shame that Canning Townlend's not here, is
Brady out.
Yeah, Brady got a £1 million bonus as a finder's fee for introducing Daniel Kredinsky to make his investment. I don't know if you remember this. If you've got a long memory, she also got a £1 million bonus
for bringing the stadium.
Well, no, I think it was Trip Smith as well.
What does Trip Smith? What is his interest? What is he doing?
Well, he's down to 8%, but this. Oh, he's in it for a consortium. Right, There's been no sign of that.
Here's a question for you.
He's a nice guy, I hear.
That you may need to go away and find out. Here's one that is. In regards, when they bought the club, we can only guess what they paid.
Well, no, because there is some information on this, by the way, how they. So, well, if you read David Gold's autobiography, he says exactly how much he put in.
Right, how much did he put in?
That he reckons they put in 100 million to buy 50% of the club.
That's
well, I'm just telling you. I can show you the bit on his autobiography where it says it. It's a new chapter that he released.
Do you think that's true?
I don't know. I've got no other information apart from what's available in the public domain.
I'm pretty sure at the time the club was valued at 100 million, and they only bought 50% of the club.
Correct.
Now,
but they did inject cash in, and if you look at this,
so what we're saying is they paid 50 million to buy the 50%, and then put 50 million in to run the club.
Correct.
Which they then put as a shareholder loans.
No, separate.
But then what happened to that 50 million interest? Because year after owning the club, they then came out and said the debts were worse than we thought. we're still over 100 million
but
in debt. But if you put 50 million into running the club,
hang on, you've got to look at cash flow in the same way. Kredinsky, right? A lot of the money that Kredinsky. So I've just said, although 60, what did I say? I've got to look back. 60 million went into investing to put liquid funds into the club from his investment. So when and they did a rights issue before where 30 million was injected. This money just if you keep on making losses, someone somewhere has to make. What a person once told me, a senior source said, you can't keep on making losses without making profits or injecting cash, right? We've made losses until this year where we made a pre-tax profit of 12 million. We'd made losses, including I think 80 million one year. You can't keep on making losses without either making a profit to balance the books or injecting cash. And if you look back, and it's all in the accounts, you'll see at certain points cash was injected by the shareholders.
So what did our wage bill go up by?
Our wage bill. So you weren't listening. Our wage bill.
No, you just sort of said it went from this to that. But
it went up by about 7 million. It's 135 million now.
Right.
Which is not outrageous, Anyway, what did I say? Yeah, it's 135.7, John, up from 129.4.
So this report in the paper talking about, well, you said that's not true.
Yeah. Oh, and I've spoke to a number of people. So the one he's talking about, West Ham shareholders not motoring ahead, which I wrote again on 6'2" today. Sunday People, Neil Moxley, and I spoke to 3 people today.
Are these all senior sources?
2 senior sources and 1 a club source, and so they are all related to the club, and they all say the same. There are certain things, John, you know about, and Nigel knows about. I can't go into which is why this is not true, but it's just not true. I'm not saying they won't ever sell.
Yeah, they're not selling.
The thing of saying that they will sell by March and they're motoring ahead to sell. This is one of these long-held rumours that are just going to sell out in March. I have been consistently told by 2 senior sources, very close to the action, that neither of them are prepared to sell.
But this is my thing to you.
And while they might sell some of it, they are not prepared to sell to make Kredinsky or someone else a majority shareholder.
This is my thing to you. Is that you say that I've been categorically told by senior sources that they're not doing that. But if they were doing that, what do you think they would say to you?
I think they wouldn't answer, which is the same, in my opinion, John. And I've known these senior sources for a long time. They're opus. I can't even say the word.
Opus yeah.
You can't say either. Is not to answer the questions they don't want to answer. It's just silence. They just don't answer them. They don't make up answers. They just won't answer them. It's just definitely silence. Now, I've been told there's no approach externally, and in their view, they don't know what's going on in Kredinsky's head. He's had a long history of minority shareholding, right? Even in Royal Mail and in Sparta Prague. It doesn't make any sense why he would buy. And the only time I think Kredinsky, he loves a bargain. If there's one time that Kredinsky could buy, if we're relegated, that's when I could see him buying us, thinking, well, actually, I'll take the risk, but West Ham will bounce back, so I'll pay lesser price to buy them and sell them at a bigger price when they're back in the Premier League.
Yeah.
He's an opportunist. He makes opportunist moves in the pandemic. He invested in Sainsbury's, he invested in Royal Mail
Well, Sainsbury's was an opportunist, wasn't it? Because during the pandemic, the supermarkets must have been booming.
Yeah, but he made his investment at the beginning of that, before they were booming.
Right.
So he gets it. So, look, you may say, yeah, you could have the wool pulled over your eyes. I don't believe there will be a takeover in March.
I don't say that. I just it's the way you come out and categorically say this is definitely. That you got to realise that they might be bullshitting you sometimes.
It could be. You
get.
But there is another factor, which will come out probably in a few weeks' time. That will be a factor in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. I'm going to probably do some kind of financial show, probably with Stell on West Ham Voice at some point. You'll be welcome to join it, you two, if you want to.
Yeah, no, you go do it with Stell, mate.
Yeah, I think I'm doing my hair now.
All right.
No, don't worry. We used to do it every year.
Well, that's...
No, you go.
We
No.
used to do it. Who did we do it
What
with?
you and Nigel? What you and
Me and
Nigel
Nigel used to do it
every
with...
year.
Yeah, we used to do financial.
Yeah, but who with?
No.
We used to do it with Stell's lot, the previous lot.
Well, perhaps I could have gone to Nick and offered it to him.
All right. Well, we're talking after the show. West Ham.
Oh, you want to do it with me, dear?
All right. West Ham are paying.
Oh, dear.
We are paying £3.6 million in rent for the London Stadium, up from 2.8. It's going to get over 4 million this year because it's index linked, and you'll be surprised that obviously the index link, which is related to inflation, has been going sky up. So the club, the owners, the stadium owners say it doesn't even cover the cost of the policing.
Will
and
there
shooting
be a
matches.
time, do you think, where what we pay rent for the stadium will cross the threshold to not being worth?
there could come a time. I mean, obviously, we're paying more because we went 62,500, and the index link. I mean, this has been an unusual year for inflation.
But this is the thing. You say that we go 62,500, yeah, which was a vanity thing. Let's get this right. It was a vanity thing just so we could say we had a big stadium in London, and that's why they did it. Those seats, bearing in mind they had to create a band 6, selling season tickets £300 to help achieve that. Does it actually pay for the uplift?
I don't think so because it's relative, and they're saying the cost of wages have gone up. They've always got to pay the London living wage. The cost of wages are going up, so actually they're paying more. They're saying our fans are unruly, and because of a poor behaviour, they want to ask West Ham to pay more. So their costs are going up to over 300 a game. Now, if you look at it, we played 28 games last season. Is that right?
Home games.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right. 19 in the league.
So they're saying average of 250,000 a game.
4, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
250,000 a game is 7 million just in stewarding and operational costs. 7 million without the heat, electric, pitch maintenance, etc.
See, and this is where they go wrong.
And we're paying 4 million, so there's no way we're ever going to catch up, really.
Yeah, but
Nigel.
in business, if you was a business and you had that deal, you would then go look at the people that made that deal in your name and be looking to sue them.
Yeah, well, I think they are trying to sue. They've tried to sue the legal advisors that helped them put the deal together.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's ongoing. Anyway.
What about the Mayor of London at the time that signed the deal?
Well, I don't think that can really... He was a politician. I don't think you can sue politicians. Oh. And it will come down to legal advisors. Boris Johnson.
Oh, yeah. Of course it was.
The last bit, which I've written an article... I've been busy today. I don't know if you noticed.
I have noticed. I've even read a few.
The Hammers have made a provision in the account for relegation.
Yeah, I did read that one, funny enough.
So what they've said is, look,
it's good to be optimistic, isn't it? It's good to be like.
In the event of relegation, the total credit facility is subject to certain reductions. So they're saying the 120 million that they can borrow is reduced, but they're saying they are. I mean, basically, without reading it, because you'd be bored, John. They're saying that they can cover with our current financial position. Which, as I said, no net debt, we're in the best place we've ever been. They can cover 12 months after relegation, the first 12 months, without refinancing. But they do say, and this is the important bit, it will have to include the reduction in wages and the sale of players.
So they're basically just stating the obvious, we all know that.
Well, do you know
if
what?
you get relegated, you have to sell your best players and you have to cut your
they
costs
are,
accordingly.
but do you know what? There is previous times where, if you remember the last time we got relegated, the owners had to throw in 50 million. This is where these
but that was their fault
shareholder
then,
loans
wasn't it?
come from. Yeah.
I mean, it was their
Well,
management.
you could say it will be their fault this time. What they're saying is, in the current position they are for the first 12 months.
Well, they only put 32 million in, Sean.
Well, it actually is. It was actually
when we
50.
got relegated.
All right, when they got relegated, and then after
that
the
year
following
we got
years,
relegated.
Yeah, they put. You're right, but in total, in shareholder loans, they loaned about 50
Yeah, but
million.
that was over 4 or 5 years.
Over 3 years. 3 years. Yeah,
between season they put
2011 and 2014.
Yeah, which happened
4
to be.
years, maybe.
Why did they only put 32 million in?
That's what was needed.
What was that figure?
I don't know.
How did they come to that figure?
I don't know. You're going to tell me.
Yeah, it was a drop in income from Sky TV.
Oh, there you go.
30 million drop in income.
I mean, it's a massive drop. Don't get me wrong.
It's even worse now.
The drop in income, in fact, I'm writing a story and I've asked Kieran, what would West Ham be?
Well done.
But Sean, look, honestly, we've just had 2 of our best seasons. We've been progressing. We've got to a European semi-final. We're down to our last 16 in another European tournament, and we're talking about relegation. So can we start talking about the manager now?
Let's talk about the manager. Right. The manager, as I know, everybody's been crying out time. And I think if I ran a poll today, probably the majority would say it's time for David Moyes. I'm still firmly...
Time for David Moyes what?
To go. For a change. My information is no. They're backing the manager. And Nigel wrote an article on this that there are no obvious candidates available, and if David Moyes was unemployed, he'd be the exact kind of manager that they would be looking for. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just repeating what I was told. In the meantime...
But you see, when you state that, you're told by senior sources no obvious managerial replacements are available.
Yes.
And then we say, what about him and what about him? And you say, well, they said no. But they haven't stated that they're not available.
No, well, you've got to define what obvious is, right? Is obvious cheap? Is
obvious? It's obvious cheap. Or is it obvious that they feel that it wouldn't come there?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it,
So I have asked about Bielsa. Someone asked me about Bielsa. I'm not going to repeat the exact, but the answer's no.
Right. Have you asked about Pochettino?
I have asked about Pochettino.
What did he say about Pochettino? Or what did your senior source say?
The answer was no as well.
Based on, do we know?
No. I've told there is no shortlist. That haven't gone out to the market. And
I think there should be a shortlist. There should always be a shortlist. You should always have a
thing is, right,
sort of contingency plan.
They're not shutting you down completely, but the consistent thing at the end, but we desperately don't want to change manager. But we
I can understand that.
Right, so I get that's the mantra. I mean, as you said earlier, John, they're not going to start saying to me, oh yeah, by the way, Sean, we've got Pochettino lined up. We're going to give him one more game before we sack him and put him in, right? But I don't know. I consistently they're saying we desperately don't want to change the manager, but results must change, and there is that always. But results must change. Must improve. So, no one can survive forever. Time will come. I think if I'm talking personally, and there is a little bit of speculation here because I know Karen Brady and I know how she thinks and I know her relationship with this person.
Oh.
That there is more likely that someone like Sean Dyche will be brought in to replace David Moyes. I'm sorry. I'm just going to call it as I see it. But be careful what you wish for, John.
I just if you've got players that are like, you've got a starting Brazilian midfielder, you've got a starting Italian striker, you've got Declan Rice, you've got players of this stature that are not performing and they're not doing. but you want to try and keep them at your club. What do you go out and do? You go out and be ambitious with your attempt at getting a new manager, or do you go out and get Sean Dyche? It's beyond me. The way they run the football club is just.
I'm just saying that it's my speculation about Sean Dyche. I'm not saying that's any inside source or I've been told Sean Dyche. I'm just saying I know that Brady is very fond of him. She's always been very fond of him. He's available. I just. It's West Ham way. It's a West Ham way.
Well,
Nigel, anything on the manager? Are you still on the fence, or you were backing the manager last time we spoke? Am I on my own now?
No, you obviously don't pay attention to what I ever say.
No, of course I don't.
I support the manager until he's no longer the manager.
The king is dead, long live the king. Yeah,
exactly right. So, will I call for him to be sacked? No, I won't. Sometimes people confuse my responses on Twitter to those that do as like being a Moyes lover. And as I point out to them in some of my responses, I've never said Moyes is doing a good job, but what I try and do is counter their negativity with the opposite view. I try and hold a mirror up to what they're saying and see if it stacks up. A lot of places put out false information. Now, I pulled someone up on it yesterday. They quite rightly laughed because I made a mistake. No, don't worry about who it was, because I made a mistake, but my mistake was I was one game short. The fact is what they were saying was wrong in the amount of points per games we'd achieved, which is not fantastic. But when you're criticising people, please criticise them with the right facts, not with the wrong facts. We're getting people announcing live on air.
John got involved in that by tweeting the video.
Well, I just wanted to know if I was asking. And I see it. I thought, is it true?
This bubble that wraps up the club, and the negativity around it.
Did you see his video afterwards where he
imagine.
Said,
I
don't
think
get
it's
personal,
probably fair enough.
I was pranked.
These people shouldn't get personal.
No, exactly right. I don't even know if you can criticise him for what he said. At the end of the day, he's picked up his phone. He's been texted. He's been texted something, and he's on a show. What are you going to do? Sit there and say nothing? No, you're not. You're going to go.
If I had texted you that,
I'd have announced it.
You would have done, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I might try that.
Yeah, there you go. Was you getting stitched right up?
Yeah. But then I would have dropped you in it rather than not name my source.
Yeah.
To be fair, I would have thrown you under the bus.
Yeah.
But, and this is the thing where I used to get a bit of the hump when all these people have got their sources. There was something else going around the other day. And I'll name it. I think it was Emma's chat. Someone, I think it originated there. There was a rumour going around we'd only won 5 home games in 2020.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, no, we haven't. And then it was 5 home games in the Premier League in 2022. And you think, well, no, we ain't. We won 8, which ain't great. Yeah, but, let's criticise people with the right information, not with the wrong information.
Well, I mean, there was all rumours that he was sacked and he was going to be sacked the next day.
But what I would say, Sean, is, and this is where I will pick you up on.
Go on.
This is what comes back to you, and the way you go about you remember this 6-game quote.
Yeah.
So you then throw it back at them, get a response, publish that response.
Yeah.
People then think, oh, that's a goer then, that's a giver. Yeah, and they look at the 6 games. And that happens to be Leeds.
It does, yeah.
Yeah? And people are looking where actually he's not actually said that is the case, has he?
No, but if we lose against Leeds,
it's just he's gone.
We can. I appreciate your standing where I back my manager until he's not my manager. But
I hope there's a difference between hoping and thinking. Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope that he can turn and pick up 4 or 5 points in the next 3 games.
No, mate. When I was watching our start against Brentford, I just thought, good, come on, we need a win. Let's just. I don't sit there wanting us to lose because I want to get rid of Moyes. What I see is us continuously being poor, him continuously doing the same thing time and time again. He's not reacting. He's not managing. He's just not got an answer for what's coming at him. He's getting out tacticianed by, these managers like Brentford's manager, all these people coming in and just doing him time and time again, and him not having an answer for it. And it's looking quite glaringly obvious that this is happening, and unless we do something about it, in my opinion, as a business owner and somebody, I would try and nip something quick and do something and do it early before it gets too bad.
Yeah.
But what we're doing now is just, again, we don't want to change.
Yeah.
We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that, and then we'll end up doing it, and we'll be further in the.
But I think this is the worst run we've had under David Moyes.
It is.
Yeah, and so his first 6 months stint weren't great, but he came in a failing situation, and by hook or by crook kept us up. Though my argument would have been, I think Pellegrini would have kept us up. Moyes didn't do an outstanding job, but he did what was needed. Bilic would have kept us up.
Yeah.
Then he comes in after Pellegrini, that attempt at a big name manager. At the end of the day, Pellegrini had won the title in this country, the only manager we've ever employed that won the title. It failed. But when did it fail? After we give him 150 million to spend. My God, is history repeating itself? But what are we left with? We go back to David Moyes because he was available when we sacked Pellegrini. What happens if and when Moyes goes in January?
Well, you've got to look at, I keep stating the Emery at Villa. Who thought he'd go to Villa?
Yeah.
Who genuinely thought Unai Emery would go to Villa?
Well, it's like the bloke that's gone to Wolves, to be fair.
Yeah, the same. Yeah. What's his name? Yeah. I know you mean, but yeah, he's another one. So you've got to.
The problem we got now is they've gone.
They've gone
all day long.
Would you have taken?
Oh, absolutely. Can you imagine having Emery? No.
You wouldn't have done.
Why would you?
Well, hold up, John. What I would say is Scott Parker's record of getting out of the Championship's really fucking good.
Yeah, no, all right. We'll have him when we get relegated.
He's signed a Bruges, isn't he?
Teams back there.
He's signed a Bruges, isn't he? He's done his press conference.
But honestly, Unai Emery at Villa, you're just like, and everyone just says all the time, no way, it's ridiculous that Pochettino would come to us. And I
don't think it's ridiculous.
I watched the World Cup coverage, and he's talking about, I'm coming back after the World Cup. I'm ready to go back in. And goes, well, I live in London. I'm happy in London. I'd love to get a job in London. Now, like Dave said on our WhatsApp group, he could end up going back to North London.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, it's what he said during watching as a pundit.
Well,
as a pundit. In the World Cup, he said, I live in London. I love London.
You'd hope the phone has been picked up then, didn't you?
Yeah,
I think you're right in what you said earlier, is that the club should have a list. And in fact, I've always believed that a club should always have their eye on the next manager, no matter who the manager is.
Yeah.
No matter who you've always got a succession plan.
Sean Dyche, yeah.
But you have.
All right, as
you never know when it's going to go wrong. Right?
You've always got to have a succession plan. And if you've run something properly, you've got to have all these contingency plans in place at all times. And it's just frustrating.
Sean, say you owned West Ham, and I'll ask John this first, but say you own West Ham, yeah? Now, and this is the situation we're in. What are you doing if you get 1 point out of Leeds and Wolves next 2 league games?
Look, I think there does come a
doing?
point. I think of course, you do line up. You have a discreet, but you don't tell anyone. You have a discreet. You go through intermediaries. You don't undermine the manager.
Do you pull the trigger or not? I know what I'd do.
I'm not sure, and I'm not trying to be difficult. I would have to know what the results were around us. So
if you're not cut adrift, you're still hanging on for the Everton game.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, John.
Yeah. No, I personally would have pulled the trigger before the World Cup, and I would have made every effort to get Pochettino in and give him time over and then align him up for this transfer window coming up.
Right.
Or someone else who's, like we say, there are managers out there, even what's his name, the guy who went to Brighton is the Sassuolo manager who was old Scamacca's old manager. These managers would come. This is the Premier League, and we have now got like the 10 best managers in the whole of European football managing in here. Why would you not want to come and have a go?
Well, I would pull the trigger.
When?
If after the Wolves game.
Right.
If we lose Leeds and Wolves, he don't get Everton for me. He's gone.
Okay.
But then Mark Noble's coming in to sort it all out, isn't he? So
we started today, yeah.
This is the thing. Nobles, for me, though, has got a close relationship with
Moyes. Is going to muddy it all up, or what?
It, in a way, it does, doesn't it? It's. I disagree with sacking him before. I do think, out of respect for the job he's done, he's deserved to take us into January. And Europe muddies the water
what is Mark Noble going to do for the results? Nothing really. He's there as a go-between. What can he do to improve results? The answer is nothing. Some fans seem to think, oh yeah, well wait till Mark Noble gets here and he's going to change things around.
Mr. West Ham, but his only thing can be some influence on the direction of football, surely, and that it's got to be.
I don't think he has. There's no way Mark Noble's walking into David Moyes and saying,
you can't undermine the manager.
I think you need to change.
Any
manager.
No, agreed. He's got to be a go-between between the board, because I don't think relations are that great anyway, as you know. Any relationship, which is why you don't see many pictures of the board with the manager. But also, he's there to build for the future and take the academy under his wing. I think he's going to do more from the academy and be a basic go-between the manager and the board. That's how I see his role.
Oh, right. Do you think he could like tell his own son, "You're not good enough"?
I would hope so. Do you know anything about his son on how good he is?
No, this is a hypothetical thing.
Yeah, no, I think there is a bit of nepotism, as there was with.
His son's far too young to actually be classed as not being good enough. Or whatever, but when push comes to shove.
What's his name? Lenny.
Lenny.
Is it Lenny? Yeah, Lenny.
I hope he is. I hope he's good enough to.
Anyway, shall we move on from manager to transfer news?
Go on then. Let's do it.
Well, the answer is
we're not getting anyone.
Anyway,
we've been more than just a podcast. Then.
We've been linked to. We're leading the race for Michael Keane. There's this Russian Ruslan Muskosrosky. I've been told. First we've heard of it.
Michael Keane from Everton.
Yeah. That's what apparently. We've been linked with Calvin Phillips. We've been linked with. We've got an interest in Andy Delort. We're looking to get a cheeky loan for Harry Maguire.
Is that Delat or Deloitte?
Deloitte.
Yeah. And is he not one half of an accountancy firm?
No, it's not Deloitte.
They're not Deloitte. If we get Tuchel in, do we get Deloitte?
Delort.
Deloitte. Who's he?
I don't know. But let me tell you what's common with all of these. They're all bollocks because David Moyes has said, I'm not really doing any business unless injuries force us to. So we haven't really got any money because we spent all the 155 billion. And every time, look, people come to me and they go, can you ask about this player? And can you ask about this player? And me being a mug, I do. And the answer is no, not at this juncture. No. First we've heard about it. A bit premature to talk about. So there is nothing doing at the moment. And look, I know the way the washing machine works. Papers have to print transfer rooms, including West Ham, and so do the YouTube channels, and so do 6'2" and whoever else. But the answer is, I don't know this is boring, but there's nothing going on at the moment.
Well, to be honest with you, I wouldn't expect.
And he said there's nothing twice or three times. He said,
Given our transfer window in the summer, I wouldn't expect us to buy
that's
too
exactly
much
what he said.
business. Yeah.
So sorry to be the bearer of bad news. It's all bollocks. We've got to do one infomercial before we do predictions, and that is Canning Townland is not here, so we'll speak on his behalf. The excellent film now available on Amazon, or called Academy 74. Is it called Academy 1974 or just Academy 74?
Academy 74.
Academy 74.
Do you want me to do it?
Why don't you do it? Yeah.
No, go on, you do it.
Well, I have downloaded it. I have watched it, but now so it's about the Academy team in 1974, and it's got I'm going to do a really bad job of selling it here, but it's got Alvin Martin in it, and it's got Alan Kirbishley in it, and a lot of other people who I can't remember their names, and it's a story of their experience starting off at West Ham. That's a really crap sell, isn't it, Nigel? Download it now on Amazon or rent it, as I've done and Nigel's done.
Yes, it's less than a £5 on Amazon Prime, and it's well worth it. Twofold. It is a good story of not just the players that made it, but the players that didn't, and the era of our youth team was running a club like that. Also, what it does is, by paying for it, is you support Len and the work that he's done in over a year. It takes a lot of effort and everything. And, you know, this is not criticism of the people that I'm talking about, but if you think paying for information is worthwhile cause, then surely paying for a man's love, sweat and tears at times to make the films is worth paying for as well.
I should have mentioned Jeff Pike and Paul Brush are in it too.
Alan Kirbishley.
Alan Kirbishley I mentioned, Alvin Martin, Jeff Pike, Paul Brush.
So basically, you got the team that reached the FA Youth Cup final in 1975. A team of 16 or 18-year-olds. Some came to the club. About 50% were local boys. When I say local boys, from within 2 to 3 miles of Upton Park. Some were from further afield in Essex, and then we had a few out of towners. Alvin Martin being one, Al Camille being another, and the Scottish bloke whose name escapes me.
Don't ask me.
Yeah, a bit tainted for me because obviously my cousin was one of the players as well, so I knew a bit of the story, and he was one that didn't make it. And yeah, it's to listen to the best stories are from the players that didn't make it, rather than the ones that did. And seeing, the camaraderie of a football team from 40 years ago getting back together again. At a time when the club had some of the greats, and it was also great to listen to stories about how, even though they were the youth team, they associated with the pros, which I bet does not happen now. Does not happen now. The stories of Bobby Moore and Billy Bonds and the way they were treated by the senior pros says a lot about the way the game's evolved.
Well, I've just made a teeny URL. So if you want to get the link to the film, if you go to teenyurl.com/Academy74, you'll get the link on Amazon to be able to rent it or buy it. And I'm just going to read the blurb, just because I did such a crap job. It says, 2 West Ham United youth team players organise a reunion 50 years after joining the club and regale of the influences of Bobby Moore, Ron Greenwood and John Lyall. This documentary film illustrates the stark differences between the day's academies and the original modern West Ham Academy team that spawned 3 FA Cup winners and a manager, along with a Millwall legend. And if you want to find out who the Millwall legend was, you're going to have to watch the film, people. There you go. Was that 1 hour 22 minutes, by the way, the film is. Was that a better pitch that time, Nigel?
Yeah. It's quite funny because the Millwall legend doesn't feature a lot.
No.
And the reason for that was
I know.
perhaps some of the Millwall fans didn't appreciate him when his name got leaked out. But I find it strange that this man's in the top 5 possibly of Millwall legends, top 10 definitely, that their number 1 legend of Millwall also came through the West Ham youth team. And so it's a shame that he felt he couldn't take part in the film because it would have added something else to it.
Yeah.
And people forget he only played for Millwall 3-4 years. He also played at Rangers, Southampton, Brentford, I think another team as well. So he did the ones.
You haven't done one thing and I haven't done one thing. It's got no reviews yet, so you'll have to do your review and I will do my review to be the first 2 reviews. So if you do it, please give it
a review.
So on the web page or on TV you can do a review of it. So I'm going to do a review later on and do the first review.
Yeah.
5 stars, people, after you watched it. So pay for it and give it 5 stars. And that includes you, John, by the way. Do your bit for independent filmmakers, yeah?
Will do.
Do you think there's a market for things like John? Is it something that... Do you think... Forget that Len had made it. Just say you didn't know Len. Is it not something that you would see as an interest, or is it...
Yeah, it would have probably grabbed my interest when I was scouting through it and found it. Yeah, I'll probably... I mean, 5 is not the end of the world, is it?
There's not a lot of money in it.
But you know, from I think the interest is there, and it's a very particular market, and it's not very expansive. So whether the figures would ever work out, I don't know.
It's a bit like books. I was talking to
labour of love.
I think so. Yeah, it is a labour of love.
Ex-West Ham employee earlier today, and I don't know if you know he's got a book out. And
well, you go on.
He didn't write it, but he's promoted it. But him and Dave and this other person who does stuff published it, and you know it's sold over 4,000 copies, but there's not a lot of money, right, for the efforts involved. There is not a lot of money in selling books. And that, by the way, he was number 2 after Mark Noble's book.
I think the man that wrote the book was very clever in getting them names on it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm just saying.
It's not Sid Little.
It's not
Sid Lambert.
That's it, Lambert. But do you know what? It was number 2 after Mark Noble's biography. There is not a lot of money. All I can tell you, I'm not going to reveal the money because he told me in confidence. There's not a lot of money publishing books, even when you sell thousands of them. And it's number 2 in West Ham category.
No.
So before you do one, I know you've always wanted to write a book. You've got to write it for vanity.
Yes.
And not for profit.
Yes.
Anyway, I think that's us today. Is it not? Anything else before we do our goodbyes? And right, well, we've got some football games. We're probably recording next Monday. We've got a midweek against Leeds, yeah. And have we got a game as well against Brentford away?
We got Leeds on Wednesday, and we got Brentford in the cup.
On the weekend.
Saturday.
Okay, well let's do both of them. Let's start with you, Nigel.
Considering I love the FA Cup, I must admit.
You going?
No, Leeds. It was one of them where I weren't up with when the tickets went on sale, because you don't get an email from West Ham. They email you about all types of crap, but they never email you the dates away tickets go on sale. Why do they not do that?
Don't know.
Something you could mention to.
I will find out. Yeah, I find out everything for every bloody thing.
We get emails about buying crap key rings and T-shirts we don't want, but something fans would find informative, like sale dates for when you got points. Why not send an email? Because I don't read their website.
Oh,
but anyway,
I'll ask. Tell you what, I'll ask.
Leeds, I'll go in for a draw.
Oh.
And he doesn't get the 6-game loss. It saves the owners a bit of dilemma there. And then I think Brentford, he's going to put nobody out, and I think we'll get beat. It saddens me because it's the FA Cup.
John, I've just read your message, by the way. I was talking to you. You went for we during my financial segment.
Oh, yeah, I did, yeah.
And I asked you a question.
Did I tell her notice?
And you were just muted. Now I know where you were. I can't believe.
There you go.
Please don't go for we's during my financial segment. Anyway.
Well, it seemed an ideal opportunity for me, Sean, to be fair.
To be fair, John, I think a shit would have been better.
I'm going to say, I was going to have a little snooze.
Sorry, did I say, perhaps I should have said a number 2.
There you go.
Right, go on.
I actually watched Leeds Newcastle at the weekend. I think Leeds were pretty good, so I think we're going to get done 2-1. And I think we will lose against Brentford.
Oh, 2 losses.
2 losses.
I'm going to say 1-0 win, 1-0 win. I want to I want to be optimistic. New year, 2 wins, and I just hope I'm right that we can. It will be narrow. It won't be we're going to have to grind out results, and I hope grinding out results is what we're going to do in January.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're back. We should be back next Monday. Back to normal.
Well, I'll be on Claret and Booze.
Oh, will you? When will you be that?
After the Leeds defeat. Sorry, after the Leeds defeat.
But we need to do a financial... Wherever we're going to do it, we need to do a financial presentation like we did before. You tell me the platform we're going to do it. I did speak to Stell earlier.
Oh, we'll do it with Stell.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we should, really.
Let me know when it's on so I can not watch it.
Not watch it, yeah. We'll let you know. Right. Anyway, I've been Sean. Nigel has been...
in his garage.
And John has been...
just happy to be here.
Yeah. Download, rent, or buy Academy 74. Come on, you irons. Bye.
Bobby Moore, more than just a podcast. Bobby Moore, more than just a podcast.